There we go. Desktop audio. No sound from desktop properties. Maybe that. There we go. Alright, we're back to the game. We're gonna play one chapter and then we're probably gonna raid DJ because she's doing a long stream and I would appreciate if you guys stayed for that. Alrighty, so last time we found out it was all a tragedy. The person who was accused of being the stabber of the...
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through
Yeah,
the
it wasn't the
thick wall of
stabber,
fog
so
around us.
we're all good. Now let's watch.
Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited breathlessly in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical hound of the Baskervilles."
Ooh, scary. Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience, we were first thrown into the day we arrived in the country, and in Soseki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court. Which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur and unknown student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that faithful telegram. The auto framing broke, right? I feel like the auto framing did break. Yeah. Couldn't get the auto framing working again. Ah, it's okay. I'll have it work next time. Well, that morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Susato-san? Yes. It's time to leave for court already? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. But I think I said she would make us breakfast this morning. So we shall go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes, Ice makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? Once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in a fighting fit form. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. Let's chat about the case. The telegram. So what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean. Oh, telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but you're not gonna get away with that. Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. It's just a boring old telegram. That's 3 times she tried and failed to convince me it was nothing. I promise that I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. I suppose Saseki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he? Yeah, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already. Be just a few days away. A fortnight ago, we had a very long telegram from him. Do you remember? Complaining of seasickness? But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? I was just wondering what might have become of Saseki-san had he stayed in London. Oh, that's all. You mean as regard to Lord Von Zykes, the Reaper? Yeah, I can't help but wondering if the seasickness would have paled into insignificance in that case. Ah, this music is beautiful. What is it they say that no one wants to stand in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that nightmarish trial ended on the very day we arrived in London. Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. But at least Saseki-san is saved out of the country now. Presumably that means that the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps. Even if that's the case, it's little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding. If the legend of the Reaper is to believe, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself. Come to think about it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely not wielding that sword against more acquitted defendants. No, I don't think so. Apparently, Lord Von Zykes hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. Oh? Yes, since Saseki-san's trial, he's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. So it's just been me, or who's had to face his recent spate of trials, then? Oh, just my luck. I wonder if luck doesn't come to it. Sorry, what was that? Oh, nothing. Never mind. I have a feeling that our friend, is it Karuma? No. Oh man, I forgot his name. I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry. Okay. I guess we don't have our friend's name anymore. But our old best friends probably had to finish fighting the Reaper of the Bailey, and so we took his place, so that's my guess. Alrighty. We're just gonna skip checking the consultancy. Good shots. Let's see. Morning, Rudo. Morning, Susie. It's playing the violin. Mornings, Iris. Iris. What is it, Runo? What is that terrible noise? Sounds like a cat being strangled. You noticed that, didn't you? If I had to play violin, oh, I'd sound like this. Hurley isn't in the best form this morning, it seems. Oh no. Hello. Hello, Mr. Schultz? Good morning. Good morning, the diaper apps. Has something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before... My analog line is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Poor guy. This blanched existence. What is it? Like, that's all that it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble. Meow. You have a cat. It's a cat. Oh look, it's Wagahai. Good morning, boy. That must be some tiny door for cats to use. But how did you get there? Aw. Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. It would indeed be a fine day to die. I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. It's true. His whole contraption thing. Let's chat. You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? It used to be the case that in my hands, this violin sung like the dawn chorus. Its mellifluent tones would make the flowers bloom. It would? And now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? For hours, I have bowed. For days even. The night I have endeavored. To no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone gone forever. No more recitals of unbridled emotion. Wow. Wow, he is sad. Don't worry, I'm sure I'll come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of art are fickle. One day they bestow genius to a man, and the next they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh dear. Why is this happening to me? They take the turn I have for the violin from me. What is left? For pity's sake, what is left? So I guess he's not able to play violin? Deduction perhaps? Is that what you're known for? Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but... Your desk looks rather empty today. Well done, Miss Susato. Your observational skills do you credit. No, Mr. Sholmes, they pale into insignificance when compared to yours. You struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Hurley's great analytoscope? That's at Windibank's now. Sorry? What's a Windy Bank? Now, Winterbanks, the prawn brokery. Pawn? What? You mean you pawn that enormous machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see, quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I would gladly pass that little income I have to you. Dear madam, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of the pawnbrokery is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is? It doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. What's to understand exactly? Tell me. So what did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand it? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks. Banks? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they received in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. That's a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. Oh, how ingenious. So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at Winterbanks, you see? A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought even pawnbrokers were different here in Great Britain? Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Oh, poor guy. We chat with her, maybe? Why got high? Mr. Natsumi's hat seemed to have settled with its new home. Oh yes, become very attached to Little Wacky. It would appear his previous owners completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their mews are empty as the hearts of muses. And Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Wacky back to Japan. I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could, but pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. For good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage aren't obeyed. Well, I don't mind, because Wacky's adorable. He really is. Oh yes. What about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from? You noticed? You're observant, you know? Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. Oh, what is that? I call it that cat flip-o-mat. A machine making doors just for cats? That's right. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Wacky in seconds. They could do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see? Wouldn't it have been quicker to make a cat flap rather than a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe, but now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us at the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. I see. Or, hee hee. Yeah. What was that? Wagga hop? What was that? Oh no! Why got eyes tangled up in your violin? Make you think it's a toy? No, what is he doing to it? Oh dear, Mr. Sholm's precious violin. Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. If the cat is more accomplished musician than I, now. Poor guy. Hmm. Uh, Alrighty, let's see. Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it is, shall I, Hurley? Out of the cat's reach if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. Oh, God. So this is the violin, is it? It's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier, Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. Doesn't look any special to me. It's pretty expensive. I happened upon it, covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. How honorable of you. Until today, it had been my faithful companion in every great Paganini-inspired performance set. I ask you, is there a reason to live in a world devoid of music, to tolerate this blanched existence? No. There is none. Mr. Sholmes. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? Hmm? What do you mean, Miss Susato? Oh, Susie's right. The tone of the wood is completely different. That's not all. There was no crack here before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this? I'm terribly sorry to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all. Isn't it like a cello or something? Really? It's an entirely different instrument called a viola. What? What? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, are you alright? You're right. You're quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So, what, pray, is this piece of stringed flotsam? Viola. Cello's the big one. I can tell. Oh. Viola is slightly bigger than a violin. I see. What must have happened? You do, Iris? This is just a simple mix-up. Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what happened if we ask her. Alright. What did you mean by mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this viola I mean, was at Windibank's until last week. Ah, at the pawnbrokers? Not Mr. Sholmes' beloved music partner? Ah, it's a proverb from the East, which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel. Ah, indeed. You sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth. Oh, what a wonderful idea. Last week, I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument, but it would appear Mr. Windibank mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. My ears can't be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Pshaw, a fine state of affairs this is. Why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker. They'll try to fail you every time. But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbroker as an extremely secure vault. Come, Mr. Naruhodo, dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toast with that vacant aspect? Pressing your coffee so obtusely? Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? We must visit Mr. Windibank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? Precisely, Miss Susato, without a moment's delay. But we haven't finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect to press your egg over more obtusely? Alright, say no more. Let's go then. Don't worry, Rudo. I'll be happy to heat it up for you again later. Thanks, Iris. As it happens, I'm rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker's looks like. Well, let's go, I guess. We can go outside? We'll just go straight to the pawnbroker. Why not? "15th April, Windibank's pawnbrokery." So this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh. There are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here. Never laid eyes on before. Ah, Susato-san. That sparkle wonder in your eyes. I can't wait to scour you can't wait to scour the shelves, can you? I got the impression you enjoy places like this. Yeah. I don't know why, but it seems such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me. My dear fellows, let's not forget why we're here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We're calling on matters of business. Pleasure. Clearly, Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, sir, welcome back. Did you hear that brazen welcome? Well, yeah, we're potential customers after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo, and it's time we inform Mr. Windibank of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot. Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yeah. This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Woodenbank. The color of the wood is different. It has holes in it. It's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgiving of me. An inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. The gun? I'll have to take my own life. What? I don't think that would be necessary, do you? If I may just say one thing before I pop off. Yes? It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe? Sorry. As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard, here it is. You did. And when I turned to controvert you, you'd taken the viola and left, sir. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my own door for allowing you to leave. Sir shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May this guilt die with me. No. The fault is mine. Phew. It appears that the fight is over. Well, that's a comic relief, I guess. I do humbly apologize, Mr. Wonderbank. Evidently, my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Sherlock Sholmes without that questionable disposition now, would you? I do believe. You may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I needn't remind you of the peculiar collection of items you brought through my door in the past. Oh, peculiar items? In the extreme, ma'am, for example, the unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work, the novels of Sherlock Sholmes or some such. A new full-fledged novel? An unpublished? A story you have yet to read, you mean? Forgive me. Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. What? You must know more. Tell me everything. Sato sounds really fired up now. Is there anything in an unpublished story under this very roof? Well, one day the gentleman here brought an old metal chest, you see. I'd like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Windibank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir, not a farthing more. It houses something of very great value indeed. The latest manuscript recounting the adventures of one Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. I beg your pardon, a manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do, for I'm confident it will be quite safe here. And that was that. And such Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Do I sense someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Of course, sir. Of course. They're safe and sound with me, I assure you, on my life. This is all very strange. I wonder, could I ask you something? A gentleman from the east, I see. Hold on. Ah, okay. Yes, that sable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? Aha! Your splendid attire, ma'am. 5 guineas, no less. The colors are exquisite, the design exotic. Eastern artistry at its finest, must I say. Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting. Do I feel as though I suffer some sort of defeat here? Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokeries are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you describe. I appraise their items and offer them a proportional loan and 2 months to secure stowage. If in that time they repay the original sum to me plus the agreed interest, their items are happily returned. What happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. And so you never sell the items before 2 months have passed then? That's right, ma'am, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Windibank, is an absurdity. One should never talk about one's demise so casually. That's right. Yeah. Says the man who was telling us it was a good day to die only this morning. And let's not forget that I've already helped you take the measures to ensure such tragedy never occurs. What sort of measures? I engineered a simple device which Mr. Windibank has installed here in the shop. I call it the red-handed recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Windibank? Haha. What's that deep sigh about? Oh. What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. They're just 2 below the ceiling. I see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Very astute. It is indeed a camera furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Here, I have an example I could show you. Ah yes, a print from the camera set to record activity at the shop counter. I developed a special type of film so sensitive, it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness. Really, that's extraordinary. Yeah, as you can clearly see, the counter and the door behind it. Look! So, you see, for someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. But did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30-minute intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madam. Then what if the incident were to occur between times? One could say that would be a cruel twist of fate. I must confess, your devices have been giving me cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Windibank? Surely there are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not 1 but 2 cameras in my shop after all, which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older. Ah. Nevertheless, a small price is paid to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery, no? My dear fellows, I verge on an age where safety and security come at a price. Oh, heaven help us. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. The very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windbank. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop in? Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. You're not. Sorry? I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one else but myself could be harmed. That's not really what I meant. That definitely isn't good gun safety either. Good day to you then, Mr. Windbank. It's been a pleasure always, Mr. Sholmes. So, Mr. Naruhodo, now we can explore at last. I guess we could. What an assortment of things are on these shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks, and watches. Almost anything you care to imagine. Those are forfeited items, offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn or colloquially pop an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he's free to display it at his shop for sale at a price of his choosing. Now that you explained it, I noticed the little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform? Never! It embodies my student spirit. What's that? Now what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have two little windows for looking through. Like a TV. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you're looking at is a stereoscope. A stereoscope? Fascinating. It's aptly named, I assure you. Look through the eyepieces and see for yourself. Oh, I'd be delighted to. Excuse me for a moment while I just have a look. Just before you do, there's something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. However, if that's beyond you, it's a little consequence today. Alright then, I'm gonna try it. Wah! Mr. Naruhodo, you must see at once. Alright then. You be cross-eyed while I'm trying to look at my own nose. What? I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it looks like you could reach out and touch it. Yep, the sense of depth is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They're often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Why are people meddling with such black magic? It's no magic, my dear madam. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at the present. We'll save this lesson for another day. Oh. I investigated that thoroughly, but I can't find anything out. Okay. April 15th. That's not a calendar you easily misses it. April 15th, today's date. Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It's an Eastern-style page day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. The perfect calendar for a tearaway fellow such as yourself, Mr. Windbank. And who was it who walked out of here with a wrong violin before? Well, when the agreed storage period has passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. It's something of pawnbroker's obsession, you might say. Oh, yes, I can see you're very dedicated at your job. That's... okay. Look at this! What this lovely big shiny box be? That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you've seen such things in your own country. Yes, I've never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Oh, what a sublime sound. It's like music of angels. Never heard anything like it before in my life. Its particular specimen is of a larger variety found in public houses and restaurants. There's a metal disc inside on which the notes can be played or recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be displayed. Hey, Epitome. Thanks for the lyric. My goodness, what a simply delightful machine. Indeed. Their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. There's a horse, there's a hat, there's a block of thing. Look at this! Whatever could this be used for? No idea. There's a small catch just here, look. We're going to open it, are we? Aren't we? Oh my, that's amazing! It's some sort of spring-loaded mechanism, which we never managed to put back in the way it was before. What are you two doing? Nothing. Nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. Feels as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. Opens for it. That ain't fair. You know it. The article barely worth a penny, miss. I can't offer more. It sounds like there's an argument brewing over there by the counter. Come on, that can't be right. Have you had the proper butchers at it? I've seen all I need to see, young girl. It's Art. Don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her. Yeah, it's the young lady Mr. McGilda's trial 2 months ago. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds for leaving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. Gina's up to no good, right? Gordon Bennett, you lot! Oh, Miss Lestrade, I hope you've been well. You remember me then, do ya? Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So what are you doing here? Down and out, like the rest of us? Nothing to eat? Come to pop the back weasel? Sorry, coat, have ya? What is it about? This black uniform, what makes everyone comment about it? Good day, unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our smoke grenade launcher? Mr. Sholmes! So you have something of value upon, do you? Allow me to see the article. I shall negotiate with Mr. Windibank on your behalf. Pull the other one. I don't need no help from some stuck-up D. Get out of my business. Go on. I'll make trouble for ya. As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I'll happily remove myself from your presence. He's really done it. He's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there's no room for negotiation here. What's that thing has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc? And you, go on. Leave me alone. Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shouldn't be offended in the slightest. Susato can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. Somehow, I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, well, I am, alright. I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That's a problem, is it? No, that's not all. Just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. Probably got it on the dive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo? Alright then, I'm going to come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Oh, I don't know what's best to answer that. Oh, really? Suppose, sometimes. Yeah, stealing ain't right. Not gonna deny it either, Miss Lestrade? Not this time. Alright, I swear, that thing belongs to me. This that Mr. Winbank is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. Mr. Winbank, what exactly is this metal disc Miss Lestrade has brought in? Seems to have 100 tiny little bumps on the surface. It's a music disc, you see, with music inside a music box. In a music box? What? You don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern lot aren't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is, I just never seen one of those discs before. Small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and beautiful music plays. It's so incredible. Tell us, what tune's on this disc? Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There's so many different types of music boxes, you see. British made, German, Swiss. I've no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies, he told me he did. He said it was, well... He? Who? Never mind, it ain't right, that's all. That disc worth good money, I know it is. Well, you'll have to try your luck at some other pawnbroker, won't you? She's been in before. Of course, this little tater Damalian. I see. And brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I am an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. Ah, a storage ticket. So, Miss Lestrade has actually come to redeem an article from you today, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs storing. Right. That's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited midnight tonight, but she gave me the ticket for it and we paid both a loan and interest. I was obliged to return the article to her. Well, what was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Winterbank. The little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat she redeemed. Oh. Whoa, what's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, of course it does. So, what about the disc then? How does that come into all this? Ah, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn. The girl and I can agree at a price. I'm confused. I thought you said that Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. The child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed to it, as you say, for this heavy black coat which you returned to her care as I had supposed I understood it. That's right, yeah. And rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, he went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean? What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mean this disc, then yes, exactly, ma'am. And she immediately tried to pawn it, for quite a high price as well. That's rather suspicious, I think. Give it up. I'm just trying to pawn something like everyone else would. Miss Lestrade, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Oh, well, me. Doesn't really appear to be your size. The old man, it's the old man's, ain't it? Is it, Miss Lestrade? Yeah, this definitely all rather suspicious. We'll have to find out. Out of my way, please. Whoa. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There's no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I'd much discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, you're an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Who are you? Do you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy to even remember the faces of your victims, it seems. What? You mean... you? Broker. Yes, sir? I believe this filthy pickpocket thief just redeemed an article from you, know? The article in question belongs to me. I demanded for it to be returned at once. My. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say... any music box disc as well. No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's the old man's, or it was. Now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a very awkward situation. I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Okay, let's hear it. Mr. Lestrade, is what the gentleman's saying... What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before. Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now? No, I swear to God. It's barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street, minding my own business, and when this little gutterling ran into me, I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed, yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets? Yet again? Oh yes, as you can see, I'm a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Grr. Come along now, Miss Lestrade. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall no choice but to call the police. Oh, why does everyone think it's me? Just look at his dandy coat. I think I'm the dodgy one? I'm sorry, but no one's gonna believe you. Well, what about evidence? Yeah, where's your evidence? I stole something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence, naturally. What? Evidence that the article Miss Lestrade redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course, we need only consult Mr. Windibank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Brilliant. I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Oh? I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine. Why not? Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity. Ah, I see. How can you know if an article belongs to a person asking to redeem it? Oh, it's quite simple. With the ticket, right? Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Of course, it's Professor. Yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt. A watchword. Interesting. Does she even know about the watchword? So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windibank. As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposited items with me. There are many reasons why certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets, none at all. Yeah. That's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. The date of a deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, when I give the storage ticket to the customer, when someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells me the correct watchword, you return the article? That's right, sir. Yes. Just as soon as the prerequisite is made. And I've supplied you with the information you require already, but for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat, deposited 2 months ago on the 15th of February. With the watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir. But oh. Really? This is beyond joke now. There's no further room for doubt. Ugh. Let's talk to him. Excuse me, but who are you? Finally find out. One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first, but clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Sorry, yeah, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're just studying here. Ah, yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup dressed up with exotic spices. You might be thinking of somewhere else. What's that theatrical gesticulation about? Perhaps. Anyway, if you're a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first before inquiring the name of another. Yeah, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. A student of law, really. My name is Susato Mikotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's assistant. I see. My name is Benedict. Eggert Benedict. Okay. Enchanté. He's so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious. Now to the matter at hand. My overcoat. Return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off. Grr. Every move he makes, every breath he takes. Can't stand watching him. So, let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Eggert Benedict, sir. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar. And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. But of course, sir, here's the disc for you. Just this one? Pardon, sir? I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another disc. Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir. That was deposited with me that was merely the overcoat. This happened to be one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding one more of what's rightfully mine, are ya? Say who? I know nothing about it. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute, that disc is mine! What do you think you're doing? You little tramp. You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Oh my, there's blood on the disc. It's because of those sharp little bumps. The man must scratch his finger on them. I found it first, alright? I mean, it belonged to me old man. And you're not having it. Oh, you take it. Me? If I hang to it, they'll have me off again. You keep hold of it. Mrs. Strahd, why is this so important to her? The music box disc has entered the courtroom record. You there, in the black livery. Hand the disc to me at once, please. No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Do I talk to her again? Wow, Mrs. Strahd's really looking into daggers at mysterious gentleman. We need to do something to calm things down before she loses control and attacks him again. Mr. Windbank is clearly at a loss here. We have to do something about this before he reaches a revolver for this. Look at those piercing eyes. He's clearly in no mood to talk. We have to do something quickly before this mysterious gentleman leaves to fetch the police or something. Guess we'll move? Guess we will look at it. Look at the little bumps on the disc. They're so tiny. The protrusions are called pins. They pluck the teeth of the comb to make notes. And just on the edge, there is a small amount of blood. The blood of the mysterious Egbert Benedict. When Mrs. Strahd tried to grab the disc from him, the pin scratched his fingers, it seems. It seems when you're grating some daikon radish, accidentally catch your finger. Ouch! Hands blood, I know. Oh, there's a secret message. Hey, Liam. Good to see ya. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck onto the reverse side of the disc. Look. A scribbled word or two. It looks like somebody's name. Or McGilded. McGilded? It couldn't be, but it's Mr. Naruhodo, the name I shall never forget for as long as I live. That's the person who died. So we heard. Why is his name on this? Oh, the twist! Mr. Sholmes, what are you examining? Such keen interest there. Is urine during the bar of caramel, I see. So, you found me at last. Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows, cruelly ostracized to the rest you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind. Man, I'm feeling something in my throat. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but I was too ashamed to let society see my downfall had done to me. Just when blood on the item was discovered, I said hand's blood. Yeah, hand's blood it is. So feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Well, she shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, the 7% solution of caramel. Wait, do you claim to understand the depths of despair, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone bad to worse here, you know. I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences were correct. Oh? Surely you're not about to tell us that you solved the entire case once again? My dear madam, sometimes I wonder, are my genius for deduction to be commoditized? How much could I pawn for it? It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration, but who knows if it will help resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and this mysterious gentleman. What's the right to do here? It's here's deduction. Dun, dun, dun. Alright. Distracted. Where the blue blazes have you been, eh? Pard? The lady's in trouble. True Gent's supposed to be there. Oh. Straight away, not an hour later. Harsh. And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Edgar Benedict, you have in my eyes a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon? The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. Right, we already knew. And second is this. Considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? Oh, he's turned white as a hard-boiled egg. It seemed that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction. Who do you think you are, sir? Ah yes, as I hoped. That's precisely the pain expression I was looking for. I mean, I might need to turn on the lights. It's getting dark because of the winter. Ugh. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Sherlock Holmes logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright, let's see how crazy his deductions is. Alright, let's go. Mystery Man's Game. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. He's holding a thing, as revealed by that which you're holding in your hand. That's what brought you into the shop in the first place. Staff recruitment letter. Flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would realize that a man of your appearance need no such employ. In other words, there's some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutched to your person, exhibits an uncontrovertible contradiction. That I've had this key for years. AG. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing Ferrule. Hey, Solidar, welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well. We're just playing some, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Call me Yoshi, call me Andrew. As always, I love to pray for you guys if you have any prayer requests. But how is your day today? I hope your weekend has been well. And prepping for this maybe Thanksgiving week. I don't know if you're in the States. If you're not, let me know what's coming up for you that we could pray for. Alright, it says, the end of my walking cane would be terminated with a middle ferrule to protect the wooden tip. Yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there's only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recoil, sir. Something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to your next conundrum to present itself. Solart says, yeah, I'm doing good as well. I'm streaming as well and just wanted to drop by to say hi and lurk. No problem. Appreciate the lurk. Grant hands blood. That's what Liam says. Alright, and in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to your next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind the rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding the riddle, you see? From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle? Mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod is the broken handle of a shovel. Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here oh, you thought I was Grant. Was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What? What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. See, he just like goes off the tracks completely. Now, Mr. Benedict, let's continue. For me, we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have been planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, gentlemen, intend to excavate the ground beneath the pawnbrokery with a broken shovel? What on earth do you propose I would expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose. Say for such fanciful theory, what possible reason would I have to do as you say? Oh, but there is ample reason. As you are the only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more than I could have hoped. What? Let's consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed through the council notice on the counter, which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. The letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath the shop runs a sewer that adjoins another that runs under the bank to the opposing side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath your feet, you'd actually gain access to the waterway. and that flows in close proximity to the Great Vault of the financial institution opposite. You... In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery to the dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us to the last and final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off the underground vault of the bank? Are quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? No idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, the picture postcard tells us all we need to know. The Great Exhibition. I'm afraid you quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to those who complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank, on the other side of this road. Pardon? A considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of that bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Wow, why did he say that? Thought it was a secret. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. It's probably very, very off. Mr. Sholmes. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, an impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? It was true what you said about the bank over the road and what was in its vault? Indeed, though few know of its existence, one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me in the strictest confidence. Why is he saying this? But you just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly in fact. If it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict come to find out about it? There can be only one explanation for that. Clearly it's because the man is a criminal. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he's a criminal, just as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Winterbank will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all. Oh my life, I assure you, I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. Says one who's saying this. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets wouldn't disclose them. Once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I think twice about confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh dear. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yep. Let's listen to that great deduction again and see if we can massage it into shape. Okay, let's do it. Very well then. Let's start once more from the beginning. The corrective deduction. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured into this brokerage today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here. I had redemption tickets stolen from you on the street, but that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yep. What brought you into the shop in this first place? The first place is staff recruitment letter. So by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. In an attempt to dig down a tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is where? What brought Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Oh, look at that, all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Green cap, scuffy waistcoat. Grubby white shirt. Blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness. There's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Though if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. Look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Windybank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline, 15 April, which is today's date. Why did Mr. Benedict have all that information sprawled on the back of that piece of paper? Yeah, we're gonna present this.
Take that!
That's what brought you here into the shop in the first place, is information about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing in the sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertains to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery here. Ah. You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole a redemption ticket for you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It's the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean here to Windybank's Pawnbrokery, and today the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you written down to arrive. You've gone to some great lengths to hide the reason you're in pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there's some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane which you unwittingly clutch in your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years. The contradiction which speaks of the missing ferrule. I doubt it. What's a ferrule? It's a metal cap commonly found at the end of a cane, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, but that makes a nice clacking sound on the pavement. Exactly. Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? It doesn't. Though the gentleman surely did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's something secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we not know. I'm pretty sure it's just this thing, right? Look here, Mrs. Sato. There's some letters on the handle. Those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave belongings with the first letters of their name. So Sherlock Holmes with HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously. Oh, AG? Why does it feel as though that's not quite right? I guess we'll just present this. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing. The most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Edgar Benedict? We're led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. Yet in the most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An uncontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. Its cane isn't... You said before that you'd had that cane for years. Grr. So don't you try to tell us you borrowed it from a friend and found it in the park. In short, though you told yourself to be a gentleman, you've withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? Well, in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind the rod you hear? You something? Yeah, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding the riddle, you see? Yeah, I don't think so. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happening here. Mrs. Strahd redeemed that fine overcoat. Now a mysterious man had appeared, introducing himself with a fake name and claiming the overcoat belongs to him. And we know he actually identified Mrs. Strahd from a written description, which suggests that everything he's told us is untrue. So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat can't possibly belong to him. Well, let's look at the overcoat, I guess, right?
Take that!
The split seam which you evidently like to conceal is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it on your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so baldly lied about your name and so boldly lay waste this pickpocket, this catalog of untruths has already been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windibank. Yeah, we got him now. But what really irks me is this. It's a considerable crime I initially imagined had been considerably curtailed. Right, so... That's wrong. Now, Mr. Benedict, let's continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the plan. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, designed a wheeze to filch some tawdry article of pawnage? Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in proper manner using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place? How could I possibly have known the relevant details, n'est-ce pas? Well, there are a few things, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are the only well too aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, your furtive glance is more than telling I could have hoped. But let us consider how one might have learned a secret watchword relating to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed by the cancel notice on the counter, which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. I think you just looked at the records, right? Yeah, no more talk about tunneling into the sewers, which is a pity, because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yeah, Professor. If you didn't know that word, Mr. Windibank would never allow you to read the article. Or, looking at it another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Windibank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? I mean, it was the last item to be redeemed, right? So, notelet, maybe? Look at this, Miss Sato. It appears to be a memo that Mr. Windibank scribbled himself. Let's see. What does it say? Oh, Professor. Well, Mr. Windibank must have taken note of watchwords his customers gave him right before their eyes. And an alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear. I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see. So I guess we'll just point out to that.
Take that!
Ah. The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter, which your eyes are inadvertently drawn. Yeah, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he has to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less than a diligent pawnbroker, but his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It's increasingly apparent you were present in this shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and observed her talking to Mr. Windenbank. Hey, Sean the Gamer. Thanks for the raid. Appreciate it. Here's a shout out for you. Sean the Gamer is a super cool mod of mine. Plays a lot of Apex, a lot of Town of Salem, a few other games, but check it out. Here's nope. That's not how I do it. How are you doing?
We believe in Jesus Christ.
Is there anything I could pray for you about?
Yeah, Artie's further away.
Right now we're playing Great Ace Attorney
It'd
Chronicles.
just be better to go for 71 matches.
When the decent broker made a note of the watchword as is common practice, you observed him writing the word professor on the notelet beside
Our
the
verse of
ledger.
the day comes from Philippians 1 through 6, and it says, "And I
Headed
am
off
sure of
to
this,
spend
that he
time with
who
family.
began a good
Probably
work
for
in you
Thanksgiving.
will
Well,
bring to
before
completion at the
we head
day
off, I'm gonna pray
of
for you.
Jesus Christ." And
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the day today. Thanks for bringing Sean with us for a moment. Pray that you give him safe passage as he hangs out with his family, and would you give him a nice break to enjoy along this coming week. I pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Sounds good. Well, I hope you have fun hanging with your parents in town. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fated overcoat, it hardly seems to justify the effort with such a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Later, Sean. Allow me to present you a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. No. This article we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of his pockets, which according to Mr. Windenbank isn't even worth a penny. And yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo. Could we really? Better have a thorough look at the evidence we collected. Or Mr. McGilded, the surname of the man whose innocence you secured in trial 2 months ago, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah. A trial I'll never forget. Not at least until the tragic accident that followed it, which Mr. McGilded was killed. Why would his name be on the music box disc? I'm afraid I have absolutely no idea. The one thing is for certain, this certainly can't be simple coincidence. Present? You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads from McGilded. Mr. Magnus McGilded. Unfortunately, philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London whose loan mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilded was a man of unusual moral stature. In fact, he is precisely the right size for that overcoat you squeezed yourself into. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Egbert Benedict. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came into this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. Ah! Well, I guess we found out everything we needed to know. Maybe we could turn on the light too. I don't know. Well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. If we could make the. There we go. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something really troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Miss Susato. Well, according to what Mr. Windbag told us earlier, today was the final day on which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not? Yes, ma'am, that's correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. So today is 15th April, so 2 months ago today would have been 15th February, sir. That's right. Carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 10:30, I see. But that suggests 15th February is precisely the day which the omnibus murder took place, 10:30 in the evening, precisely the time which the terrible events were unfolding. Suggestive is not the word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You're of course at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose, however. I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. Whoa. It'd be a terrible shame to you return to native land in a box. What do I do? Well, I guess I don't. There's some things a man must protect at all costs. This may well be one of those things. And again, it may not. Mr. Windbank, this is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I would have to take my own life. Mr. Windbank, no. Alright, that's enough. Ah, Gregson. Woo, let's go. Inspector Gregson. Inspector? That's right, Sunshine. The alarm is raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines, so we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, eh? Oh, praise be, you're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my very own establishment. Well, it would seem you two have the upper hand. Well, hope so. Right. Some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy. Petty? Mr. Winnebank nearly met it with his end. Yeah, by his own gun as far as I can tell. Oh dear. And the whole Britain could meet with its end if I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is this case? Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're going to have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector. Ah! He's getting away. Get him, lads. Whistle the beat officer, too, sir. Oh no, he escaped. There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently, so we fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble. Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed. Now then, Mr. Permanently Ill Morning. Yes? I'll be taking that whatever it is, a McGilded down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Of course. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is, mine. Sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, you have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. Her. That might be it for today. And so, we handed Mr. McGilded's disc over to Inspector Gregson, and were summarily turfed out the shop onto the street. To be continued. Alright, thank you all for hanging out today. Looks like we finished our chapter for the day. We might come back on Monday, but the guarantee is should be Saturday. So I'm gonna help out my parents and stuff. So we have to go. But I appreciate it.